Are we actually live? On the video.
Oh,
nice.
Whoa.
We are professionals. Hello.
What?
I like everyone's style here, especially you, Shelly. You're looking good.
I like your style too.
Woo! All right. We're all right. How are you guys doing
happening?
on the Twitches? Thank you for joining us. This is Dragon Talk. We are doing our Twitch intro now, not our podcast intro, but I'm glad we're recording anyway because I wanted to say hi to you guys.
Hi.
I'm Greg Tito. That's Shelly.
How you doing?
We were off last week, so sorry about that.
That's why it feels like it's been forever.
I know. It's been like, remember when we used to do this like once every 3 months? It felt like.
Yeah.
Yeah. And now we're doing it every week, but we had to take a week off, getting a little frazzed.
Really?
Yeah.
That's why?
Well, and also we're super far ahead.
Yeah.
On recordings for
it's
this for the podcast.
For the listener.
It's confusing for me. I don't understand time travel at all.
I'd never have.
So for those of you who listen to this in audio form, in addition to the videos on the Twitches, we're basically like releasing the stuff that we recorded like 2 months ago now on the audio podcast. Which gets a little bit disjointed. Yeah, right,
Yep.
exactly. So we're going to do better at that in 2018 and as the rest of this.
New Year's resolution?
That's it.
All right.
Yeah, I resolve.
I resolve too.
I resolve to not eat chocolate
Never.
every day.
I
I have been
resolve
for the last 2 weeks.
to not eat Greek food right before I have a podcast with you.
Hi. I had a lot of red onions today.
And garlicky hummus.
I had I just used the red onions to brush my teeth. So it should be fine.
Nasty.
Cleans it all off. What's going on in your world? Yes, we were talking a little bit about Stranger Things as we're warming up here.
Yeah. We're all caught
hi.
up.
Hey, Axis, you subbed. You're a good person, Axis
Good
of
job,
Anarchy.
Ax-
Thank you
Aw.
for putting my face in the middle of the
It's you?
the beholder. Yeah, it's good stuff. So what? Yeah, real quick before we start the real podcast recording, Stranger Things season 2.
Are y'all caught up?
Are you all caught? Everybody here, no spoilers, right? They all die at the end when the ship goes down. She doesn't get the pendant. She throws it into the water. You were a ghost the whole time.
And then you woke up.
And then I woke up, and it was
Your twin sister.
Oh my God! Do you think what would it be like if you met like a twin that you didn't know that you had?
Like an actual
Yeah,
biological twin.
I think I would be so freaked out
I think I would kill it.
rather than excited.
I would kill my twin.
Right, because you're like doppelganger.
Yep. I've been trained.
Get out of there!
You're not the real me.
By the way, I'm your twin. We were both born in upstate New York.
Yep.
At the same time.
Theater.
Exactly. We've been twins this whole time. Good. So Rio's resolves to watch more D&D. That's his New Year's resolution already.
Right.
Yeah. Good job on you.
Good. Okay.
I was just kidding, Dilla Gaffner. I don't think they were going to allow that comment to be in the chat. But I was just kidding. There's no actual
What's
spoilers.
the
They
comment?
don't all die at the end. That would be silly.
Oh.
He said F you, Tito, but without the F and the other letters in there too.
Wow.
I'll give you a pass this time because you're a good person. At heart, I know that for true.
What shirt is that you're wearing?
This is our Extra Life shirt. So thank you guys for watching Extra Life.
Oh, that's magic.
This is the magic
one.
one.
Okay.
Yes.
It looks different than I like it. That's
Emmy, also designed by Emmy Tanji.
Of course.
Yeah. So we did our. Well, you know what?
That's
Let's just
cute.
get into the real thing. We'll talk about that on the real thing.
Okay.
Ready?
Yeah.
Okay. You guys all ready? All right. Let's do this.
Okay.
1, 2, 3. Ma wah wah. 1, 2, 3. Welcome to Dragon Talk, the official Dungeons and Dragons podcast brought to you live from the 3rd floor of the Wizards of the Coast building in Renton, New York. Woo! Wait, no.
Whoa.
that just came
Oh,
out.
that would be cute.
Hi, Shelly.
Hi, great.
How are you doing?
Great. How are you?
Oh, okay.
I like the ampersand.
We have ampersands, so many of
sorry.
them all over the place.
Audio people don't know that.
They are red and silver, and if you want to see them, you can go to
Yeah,
twitch.tv/D&D to see
cool.
them. But we are here. It is the amazing stuff has been going on in Dungeons and Dragons land.
So much.
So much. What are some of those things, Shelley?
Well,
What's going on in your world?
I'm really excited for
Yeah.
Friday.
Yes.
I know by the time people listen to this on the audio version, it'll be still news, but not fresh news.
But you'll know the news.
You'll know the news
before it actually
but
happens.
on Friday, oh my God, I'm My heart just started beating a lot when I just
Friday
said that.
is November 17th.
November 17th at PAX Unplugged.
Yeah.
Wizards of the Coast president Chris Cox is doing a kind of it's not called a keynote, but it's he's doing an hour-long talk in the main theater, and he might have some exciting news about a new game.
I'm going to definitely say he's got some exciting news.
I know he does.
About
Avalon
so
Hill
many
game.
things.
Yeah.
An Avalon Hill game?
It's an Avalon Hill game.
Whoa, wait, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it is.
I thought it was all going to be Dungeons and Dragons.
No. Sorry.
Dang it. Well, that's pretty exciting.
Maybe.
So
There might be some D&D fresh news in there.
you guys listening will know this news and be able to discuss it amongst your friends, but we're excited right now. You get to hear what it's like, our excitement as it leads up to
It's
this.
so exciting.
Yeah, because we got some other stuff going on at
What?
PAX Unplugged. So Dice Camera Action.
Yeah.
The Waffle Crew. All 4 of them are going to be performing live an episode.
In the same place?
In the same place. I think it's going to be episode
I wonder if
68
that's going to be weird for them.
in Philadelphia at PAX Unplugged. It'll be pretty cool. And then in addition to this Tuesday, they're also going to have an episode. So we got lots of stuff going
Double.
on. Plus, Chris Perkins is also going to be dungeon mastering something on Saturday. The
But
Acquisitions
so
Incorporated.
We're not telling people? We're
That's what it
telling
is.
people? Okay.
Yeah. 8:30 p.m. Eastern time.
Cool.
Both those games. But then also what's going on this weekend is Force Grey survived the
a lot
tomb.
of D&D.
In Brooklyn, New York, in Villain 307 Kent Avenue, one of my old neighborhoods where I used to live. You can break into my old apartment.
Cool. The
Yeah.
people who live there won't mind.
They won't see it. My brother actually sent me listing. He's like, "Is this your apartment? It's up for sale. It's up for rent." I'm like, "Oh my god!"
How much does it rent for now?
They actually, it's not listed right now, so there was no price, but they renovated it, and I'm like pissed because it's like we had a
Brooklyn is a whole new world
I
now.
know, right? We had a
since you were
ganky
there.
ass kitchen and a terrible bathroom, and they all are amazing now.
Were you in Brooklyn when people didn't want to live in Brooklyn?
Yes.
Yeah.
I lived there when it was hard to get a cab driver to drive you to Brooklyn.
Yeah, I remember that episode of Sex and the City.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. That was me. I was exactly Carrie. Is that her name?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, it was Miranda who moved to Brooklyn. But Carrie,
She's
would
the
take a cab.
she's the pretentious one, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah.
the lawyer.
Oh.
Yeah.
I thought that was a joke because I thought they were all pretentious.
Oh, ha! No, she was. She was a little bit more pretentious than the others.
Yeah. Hey, Parzavalran 314. I'm going to give you a shout out because you're a good person for watching us live on twitch.tv/DND. That's right. But also, Force Grey is going to be performing live in Brooklyn there.
That's amazing.
If you are in town in the New York area, you can still get tickets and go do that. But then, of course, it'll be on video on demand on the Twitch channel for when you get to hear this on the podcast form. It is basically the capper, the season finale of Force Grey, Lost City of Omu. Joe Manganiello is going to be there.
The season finale?
The season finale, yeah.
Go on, sorry.
No, it's who else? Deborah Ann Wall. We talked to her. She's going to be on there. Dylan Sprouse is going to be there. Utkar Shambudkar is going to be there, and Marisha Ray is going to be there.
Nuh-uh.
Almost all of them have been former guests of here on Dragon Talk. Isn't that amazing?
We get the good guests.
We get the good guests. Plus, Matt Mercer is also going to be
What?
there, making it all happen. There'll be amazing sets provided by Stefan Picorni from the Dwarven Forge. We also
We
spoke
talked to him, too.
on the podcast. Yeah, everything's all coming together.
He's making the sets?
Well, he's using his Dwarven Forge pieces to
Yeah.
create the maps that they might be going.
Oh,
down.
that's amazing.
Yeah, pretty cool.
Yeah.
Good stuff.
Yeah.
So definitely watch that video on demand. I think we'll have it up on our Twitch channel as well as our YouTube channel when we can. It should be pretty
That's gonna be
amazing.
fun.
Yeah. Also, thank you so much for participating in Extra Life. Those of you who watched and or donated, we really appreciate it. All those proceeds are going towards the kids
Mm-hmm.
at Seattle Children's Hospital and children's hospitals all around the world.
Do you know my mom donated?
Your mom is a good person.
$100.
Wow.
I know.
What did she donate? Did she get to change the game at all?
No, she didn't understand like what the things Bart was asking
I
for.
see.
She was just like, Bart said he needed $150 to make a goal, but I only gave him $100. Well, you got to make him work.
It's a step. It's a step in the right direction for
And
sure.
then she watched the segment that you and Bart and Quinn were all on.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
cute. Did you watch it?
I did.
Yeah, he was adorable.
He was a little shy.
He was a good guy.
Which is good.
Yeah, he
You
was
get
like-
two speeds from him. It's either poop or shyness.
Shyness. Yeah. Well, it's a new thing being in front of the cameras and the lights. I had to convince you to do it. You didn't want
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But thank you so much for everyone who donated. We blew through our goal for Wizards of the Coast this year. I think we're the number 3 team
That's amazing.
who raised money for Extra Life, which is awesome. And it's still going. It still goes to the end of 2018, so you can still
To the
donate.
end of 2018?
Sorry, 2017. I've been thinking so much about the
know.
future of 2018.
Well, we'll do it again in 2018.
Exactly.
But-
And we're going to start that way earlier, too. But you can still donate for 2017 by the Tortle package on the DMsGuild.com. That's how you can play as a Tortle. It's Adventurers League legal. You can do that. That's $10. It's a free PDF. Free PDF. A freely distributed PDF for $10. Or you can get the One Grung Above, which is $5 as well. So you can get content as a donation, which is pretty darn cool.
That is cool.
I think you're too late to buy T-shirts, but we
You
will
could
be.
maybe sell the one you're wearing.
This is going to be $500 to get my
Right off Greg Tito's back.
the heat of the lights. You will get evidence of that on the
Yes.
shirt if you like.
Yep.
Yeah.
Freshly sweat.
And I'm doing that for the kids, you guys, for the kids.
Yep.
You can also check out a few games that we got going on here, including Idle Champions of the Forgotten Realms. It's on Steam Early Access right now. It's an idle clicker game where you can send out your party of Forgotten Realms heroes out to kill monsters, collect loot, all in real time. So you can kind of do a little bit of play and then come back and check in on it later. And they would have gotten all that awesome stuff. And that's cool because the Force Grey characters are heroes that you can recruit into your party in Idle Champions.
Nice.
So you can have Arkin the Cruel, Jamila the Barbarian, as well as Tyrell Tall Guy and Hitch. I don't think we have one for Marisha's character. She's playing a turtle, though. So that's pretty cool.
Gonna need to get that.
Yeah, exactly. That's we're working on it. We're working on it, kids.
Okay.
You can also check out Tales from Candlekeep on Steam. It's the Tomb of Annihilation board game in digital form. It's super fun, very challenging for a single player tactical play of Dungeons & Dragons. I suggest you check that out. Also, you were going to go get the Han Cholo jewelry. What happened to it?
Couldn't find it. Hillary's got it locked away.
It looks really cool.
One day I will.
And then, of
Maybe
course...
Bart will wear it tomorrow for Dragon Plus.
Oh, that's a great idea. We'll do that.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it kind of matches.
Yeah.
But the last thing I want to tell you about is that Xanthar's Guide to Everything is doing gangbusters. So many people have been saying they love the book, they love what's in it.
Yep.
Me included. I love everything that the team has thrown in there. I want to play
really
like
cool.
every single one of those 27 new subclasses. Like they just,
It is a jam-packed book.
yeah, there's like story for days in there.
2 awesome covers.
2 awesome covers. That's right. The alternate cover is only available in game stores. That's available right now. And you better hurry up because their supplies are limited in game stores.
They might even,
Yeah, I know. I don't want to get your hopes up because they're in short supply out there. We only made a little bit of them for the game stores. But then out is wide on November 21st. By the time you listen to this, it will probably be available everywhere. So go get that wherever you can. Mass market, you can get it on Amazon, you can get it anywhere you want on November 21st. The original cover, I think, looks really cool too. Also features the Xanathar.
You will not go wrong on the
For
covers.
sure. For sure. All right. Well, I think that's a lot of fun stuff. We're making all kinds of plans for the future here right now on the Dungeons and Dragons team. Yeah, I think that's all we want to kind of throw at you. Sound like sense? Mm-hmm. Let's go throw it to a segment right about now.
Yes.
We'll throw some bings, maybe some bongs,
Maybe.
and maybe some horns,
Yeah, cowbells.
xylophones.
Maybe a flautist.
Oh, a flautist. I want a flautist.
And a triangle.
We'll have to ask Lauren Urban if she can bring in a flautist in
I
addition
used to
to
be
her
a
oboe.
flautist.
Really? Mm-hmm. You made bread out of flutes? You grounded up the flutes into bread and made it.
It probably would have been a better use of my parents' money if I did that.
Oh, man. My trombone skills, same.
Yeah.
Same.
I tried.
No good. All right, well, bing, bang.
Ding.
Oh, we didn't mention who we're going to be talking to. We're fools.
What? Maybe it's a surprise.
It's a surprise. Guys, we're going to... That was amazing, that segment. Did you hear it?
It was good.
It was off the chain.
Yep.
I'm so excited to talk to our guest. We're going to talk to Ivan Van Norman from Geek and Sundry
Yep.
and other things. He's done so much in his very short
I don't even
career.
know how I would describe him.
I would say
Ivan Van Norman,
he's an all-around good guy.
who is a lot of things.
Yeah, he's like I don't want to say
We'll
jack
ask
of all
him.
trades, master of none,
Let's ask
because
him
he's
how
mastered
to
a lot.
describe himself.
He is a dungeon master of life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness.
Just a very enthusiastic, wonderful gamer.
Yeah, he really likes Betrayal.
Yeah, he does.
He really does. And the Axis and the Allies. We got so much to ask him. So let's call him up. Let's make it happen.
I think he's a theater guy.
I know he is, actually. I have something very specific to ask him.
Oh, really?
I do. Yeah.
Nice.
I met some of his former classmates.
Is this
Hello,
Hello.
There's the voice I'm
Hello.
familiar with.
Shelley.
Ivan is the kind of person that I just want to hug whenever I see him.
Like a big bear.
Huggies.
Wait, that
I
means
don't know
something
why
different.
Pelham is crawling on the
Happy
floor
to hear
right
my
now.
two favorite voices
Yay.
in this play at this moment. So
We're
in
happy
this
to.
dimension.
You got quite a baritone voice on.
That's
on,
why he's
on
good
the
at what he
microphones here.
does.
Yeah.
I don't know. A lot of people said I was born into radio, but that just assumed that they were making fun of my face. So,
Oh, no. And you got a face for live streaming.
yeah.
The rebirth of radio over the podcast waves.
Greg and I were just
Podcast.
trying to figure out how to describe you. Like you are, but we are lost because you seem to do so many things.
Yeah, I think just I don't even
Who
know how
are
to
you?
describe what's going on nowadays. I guess you could call me a host, entrepreneur, publisher, personality type.
That's a lot of.
What if you, like, over the holidays, you have a distant relative and she goes, Ivan, what are you doing these days? Is that what you'll
the
say?
easiest way to be able to even do that nowadays is that I like to create content and I like to help other people create content. Is basically what it comes down to. So,
Do you think
'cause
people? Like,
Go ahead.
I've thrown people who throw around like that content word as like a bad word. Do you believe in that or not? What do you think?
No, I mean content. I mean, I actually think it's a beautiful word. Content is king, man. Being able to make something and be able to put it out in the world and one, say, yes, I did that and I'm proud of that. But two, then be able to have people engage in that and feel good about it. Like, I mean, no matter how you dress it up, stories are, well, at least stories as far as role-playing games and new media is that is all content. It's such an amazing thing to participate in. It's only dirty if you're looking at it and you want to disassociate any kind of like marketing stratagem talk around that. But I have just as much of a good time talking about marketing and business as I do about production and storytelling.
That's cool. Yeah, I guess it's mostly the people who don't want to like commodify what we do, right? So it's like, oh, you're like,
Too bad.
Yeah.
That happens.
right?
But it doesn't cheapen it. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I mean, it doesn't make it less important in the world, you know. So
I
that's an
agree.
opinion.
I agree. All right, so you are king of content. I think that's your title going forward.
like
Sure,
it.
go for it. Yeah. It's unfortunate because I feel like if I give myself a title, I don't deserve it. So I'm always in a much better place having other people describe.
Right.
But I don't make it easy.
What did Matt Mercer say at the Stream of Annihilation, that this was the largest concentration of people with imposter syndrome,
He said that.
like ever assembled?
Incredibly
Imposter
accurate.
syndrome anonymous.
Yeah.
It's true. We don't want to all I'm not comfortable going around and being like, "Hello, my name is Ivan Van Norman. I am the master of horror and suspense." It's awkward. It's like saying that I am better than other people when there are clearly other people who are just as magnificent and deserving of pride and praise as I am. So,
Right. Right. It's hard. It's a hard thing to sell yourself. I think it's one of those skills that you don't really learn in theater school very well.
No, and it would
it's-
be very beneficial.
Yeah.
In fact, I just got done talking to actually that is so on point because I just got done talking to a bunch of kids from the Laguna Niguel College of Art and Design. It's a little illustrative school that's out in beautiful Laguna Niguel, California, and amazing, talented people, animators, illustrators, fine art, and beautiful work, and they have no idea how to market themselves.
Yeah.
They have no idea how to sell themselves into the jobs that they want because they're so good at what they do that they have a hard time removing themselves and being like, okay, well now how can I turn this into something that I like, but that someone else likes and can participate in as well too.
It's tough. It's tough. And speaking of theater school, Shelley just reminded me, and I totally forgot until just now. Not forgot, but just it slipped my mind. You went to Chapman, is that correct?
Yeah, I went to Chapman, dude.
That's insane. Since I met two of your classmates, or at least fellow alums, and recently, and they were like, "Oh yeah, by the way, Ivan Van Norman went there." I'm like, "What?"
How did you meet these people?
Theater people.
Yeah.
So Anna Lee is one of them. She's an actor here in Seattle. She actually was the first babysitter that we called when my family and I moved here because we didn't know anyone.
How did you find her?
She, someone who was in a show that my wife was in, recommended her. Like, oh, she's great. She's awesome with kids, blah, 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 and call her up. And so she went there. And then as well, Deborah.
Danielle.
Danielle.
Yeah, and it's funny because they kind of hit me up because she just kind of told me what she's doing with her streaming D&D and kind of her podcast stuff that she was putting together. And I was like, oh, that's awesome. I didn't remember you being a huge role player, but I'm so happy that you're getting into it. And then she told me stories about meeting you and then how she's, obviously a big fan of Matt and all the kids at Critical Role. And it was one of those odd circumstances where we just got to catch up over something that became a mutual interest of ours, even though we all were part of our own little nerdy secret society called the Student Society of Entertainment Arts at Chapman. And it was just basically a student union that gave us an excuse to do projects that were outside of the scope of either the theater school or the film school, because they could only sponsor so many projects a year, whether it was like, kids' theses or the student, the theater school can only put on so many productions a year. And if, kids weren't in that as talent, then they had to go and do post-production or they had to go be behind the scenes or all the things that you're supposed to learn anyway. But this was just an avenue for us to put on other productions that weren't maybe main stage. We would take over these little corners of the school and just put on productions wherever the hell we wanted to. But hey, we were doing stuff,
That is cool. Where is Chapman?
It's in Orange, California, behind the Orange Curtain, next to 5-minute drive from Disneyland. So,
a lot of internships in the old Disneyland with those theater kids.
Yep. And it was good too. They have a really nice film school down there, so it kind of it's a private college, so it's undoubtedly stupidly expensive, and it's even more expensive than when I went there.
Oh yeah.
But they are really good about scholarships. Like I had about half of my tuition covered in scholarships when I went there. So.
And then they didn't teach you how to sell yourself, which
no. And I went to there for film school, and then I ended up learning marketing and business when I got out, and that's what I use. Although I use my film degree now too, because I'm again making stuff again. But God, I wish I took business classes. Correct.
Yep, should be mandatory.
No
matter what.
Adulting 101.
Yeah.
So how did you get involved with Geek and Sundry?
I was a multi-level marketing manager that was kind of trying to edge into the crowdfunding space really early when it was fresh and young and new, like around 2008, 2009-ish or so. Okay. And I was basically helping some people put some Kickstarters together, and I just got off this show on TBS called King of the Nerds, which was...
Oh, yes. We're going to talk about that in a minute.
Okay, sure. But yeah, I had just done this silly little show. I had dropped all of my clients, and I was basically coming back out fresh boot. Spoiler alert, I didn't win, so I didn't walk away with a bunch of cash in hand. So I was just like, okay, how am I going to get myself back in here? So I met a bunch of people, started hanging out with people. This woman, Sarah Rodriguez, ended up just meeting her and kind of hanging out with her and a bunch of her new media friends who were all doing social media and that kind of stuff. And at the time, I was getting together with another group called Saving Throw, which was like Dom Zook and at that time, Amy Vorpal and Benjamin Dunn and a bunch of other people who were kind of doing YouTube, and they wanted to make like how to play role-playing games and do it in a YouTube space. And it was still kind of when YouTube was starting to not become a viable business model anymore as far as sustained material.
Right.
But we still committed to it. We did it. It was fun. People liked it. And I ran the crowdfunding campaign for them just as a favor. And later, Sarah Rodriguez, who was at Geek and Sundry at the time, as the social media person, said, "Hey, I just saw what you got done with Saving Throw, and do you do any more crowdfunding stuff?" And I basically, hey, fake it till you make it, right? I was like,
Right.
yeah, I do that kind of stuff all the time. And she said, "Okay, well, we really need a campaign manager for this campaign. It's launching in like 3 weeks. Can you come in?" And so I come into this meeting at Geek and Sundry, and Will Wheaton's just hanging out right there. And it's a meeting with him, and it's for Tabletop Season 3. So I go in there, and they give me the job. And in 3 weeks, I launch a campaign for Tabletop Season 3, which thankfully did extremely well.
All the best laid marketing, social media marketing plans happen in 3 weeks, as far as I know.
Yeah. Oh man, it was a grinding gun. Thank God they had a good mailing list, as well as just they were pulling favors from everywhere.
Nice.
But they had all the right stuff that they needed to do it. Thankfully, they weren't devoid of resources. They had strong PR manager, all that stuff. So mostly it was me about just facilitating all of the moving pieces in order to make the campaign work. And I just haven't left.
You made a home there.
Made a home. I'm there until they kick me out, basically. So because I don't officially work for them. I'm considered to be a contractor over there, so I'm not really like I don't collect a payroll from them. I just hang out and continue to work on stuff around there, and it's satisfying though. They're good people to do work with.
Absolutely, yeah. And the thing you're doing there that people have been talking about a lot is this Sagas of Sundry, the Dread. That's been amazing.
Yeah, I mean, talk about taking a risk. Greg, this thing was either going to fall flat on its face or it was going to do amazing. I'm really proud of it. Like, it was kind of for people who may not know what we're talking about, it's essentially a show in which we are taking role-playing games and taking it off the table, but not in like a LARP way. It still has immersion and it has some LARP-like techniques inside of it, but it uses a system that some people may be familiar with. It's called Dread, and it's essentially a storytelling system that's a very yes and type of single shot role playing game, and which uses a beautiful wooden tower as its mechanic. And when you take an action, instead of rolling a dice to determine what the results are, you just have to pull a block from the tower. So it's a very yes and system.
That sounds fun.
The story is going well and you succeed until the tower falls, and then at that time the character's either he's removed from the game, but it's either because of a death or insanity or whatever machinations you put inside of it. And it's perfect for horror because it just builds so much tension and suspense, and then when that thing falls, it's such a release, and it's dreadful.
It works.
Aptly named.
Yeah. But thank you. Yeah,
people have been super psyched about it. I mean, like, basically thinking it's like changing up the idea of entertainment and tabletop, and how with the rise of streaming D&D play. I mean, I think everybody was like, "Oh, this is kind of really interesting," but you're evolving it and mutating it a bit, and I think that's really exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, it's a new choice, and it's good because the players are still making good choices. It's just we're doing something new where it's still improv, but it's dramatic improv. And I think the acronym that somehow came as a result of it is TTDRPG, Theatrical Reality Role-Playing Game.
Whoa.
So, and that's because it has some reality show elements to it, but it's very theatrical drama. But it's still a role-playing game, dude. No scripts. So,
well, that's what I always appreciate about you, is that there's always that element that's like the next level when you do, like, on Game the Game when you guys did your Axis and Allies game.
It was so much fun.
Oh my god! And you were like, we're gonna have costumes and historians, and the armchair historians they were just so funny. They were like, no.
It was so good. I mean, if we're gonna do something, I want to sell it, man. I want to make it the best.
I know, and you guys were like, we're gonna do this. How long was it? 6 hours?
It was a 6-hour
6
stream of Axis and
hours.
Allies, and we got through
Which is
4 rounds.
pretty quick. Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty great. And those historians, man, I want them to narrate every game now.
I love them. They
For
were
all the people who think that you can't put a e-caster or like a sportscaster on a tabletop role-playing game, I encourage them to go watch that video and see how you can do it.
Yes. Yeah, it was really, really good. And all of your the content that you guys generated with the how to play videos, which is Axis and Allies it's a little bit daunting for people who haven't played before.
There's a lot of pieces.
A lot of pieces, a lot of setup, but you've managed to make a 1-minute quick start video, and also that longer 9-minute or so video, which received high praise from Larry Harris himself.
I cannot
That
believe
feedback
that.
was passed on to you, wasn't it?
Yeah, no, and it made my heart swell.
Oh, yeah.
Larry Harris being the original designer.
The inventor of Axis and Allies.
Yeah. And when I went to Gen Con 50 this year, I got to see the first edition when it was just in that simple little box. And that was actually my favorite part of the whole curated display, was actually seeing
awesome.
that very first copy.
Yeah.
That is cool.
Yeah. So that was
cool.
that was good. I knew that would make your day.
Well, it's not every day someone who is a legend in your space can say, "Hey, I like your thing.
Yeah.
You did a good thing."
That's my game, and you sold it well, kid.
Right.
Good job.
I was like, I wish I could have done that back in the 60s, or whenever it was a 60s game, right? That it was first designed.
Was it that?
Yeah, I think
like-
it's that old.
Yeah, it's over 50.
Yeah. So that's
Math,
insane
wow.
that back in that day you'd had to have an entire TV studio and and we can do that kind of content very easily now at this point, right?
It's so weird that 50 years ago the thought of being able to put in a major studio setting some of these games that are now being celebrated is just mind-blowing. Even seeing your setup when you put together Stream of Annihilation in April earlier this year, just being able to look at this and be able to say, this is something that we can accomplish in order to make to make a really immersive experience for people who are just on the other side of a screen.
Yeah. I mean, even 5 years ago, it's still
Right.
did people really people want to watch other people play games? And now yes.
Yeah.
Yes, they do.
And a lot of it, we talked about this a little bit at DM Tips over the weekend. Mercer, Luke Gygax, not Colville, who else was there? Jason Charles Miller, a bunch of DMs, including this woman who runs this event called Clinical Role. She's a PhD psychologist who is playing Dungeons and Dragons.
That's amazing.
With all of her psych friends, and
that would be an interesting game.
it's wonderful, and they use it for recreational therapy with their patients as well too.
That's awesome. I love hearing about those stories.
Yep.
Yeah, and you know about RPG Therapeutics, right? Are you familiar with
No,
that?
that's a new one. I haven't heard of. We've talked to Wheelhouse Workshop as well as Dr. Bokamatsu from Take This, but
Oh man, you need to know about RPG Therapeutics, Greg.
Yeah.
RPG Therapeutics, they're not a new place. They've been around for about 20 to 30 years. And what they do is, and they're based out of the Northwest as well too.
Oh.
They run a mobile lab, and so they are a provider of recreational therapy to at-need rural locations or people who can't come out because of either PTSD, agoraphobia, all different stages of autism, blind, deaf, and they do recreational therapy using role-playing games.
That's crazy.
And they have 20 years of data. That's all gone through academic rigmarole, and they put it all for free online, access to anyone who needs that data to use in either to use in research documents or theses or just any kind of case studies that they want.
That's so amazing because we were talking to another group whose a psychiatrist who are creating, because we all know that like, role playing games can help with so many different ways of development, like,
so many ways.
Cognitions, things like that. Like, there's no actual papers or, data to my knowledge before you mentioned this that like had been done, like where you can say like, all right, we took these kids, they played, D&D or an RPG like experience, and then this improved like this much, right? There's no, to my knowledge, there was no quantitative data like that, but you're telling me that it exists, and it's blowing my mind.
I know, that's amazing.
It's decades of data.
Yeah.
It's terribly unorganized. It's it's
I love your tone of voice in saying that. It was the same tone of voice. You're like, isn't it amazing?
It's
like,
amazingly
it's terrible
awful to review.
To have to dig through it is atrocious. The fact that it exists is beautiful, and they've been an LLC for a long time, and they're trying to reach their 501(c) status. I learned about them very recently, just like a lot of people. And I'm personally championing the crap out of these guys right now. I want to see if we can do some stuff with them for International Tabletop Day as well too, because they basically just drive around a giant trailer, and it is a perfect, what you would expect, role-playing game setup: tables, chairs, snacks, drinks, and they just take around this mobile living room and to play role-playing games with folks.
This sounds like my retirement right here. Like,
Yes.
that's what I want to do. I want to get a big RV, drive around, kind of help people get in adventures.
Yeah. Right, and it's crazy. Like one of the examples they gave me, because my role-playing game Outbreak Undead is supposed to just be hyper-realistic, but they told me about this game that they run that is a zombie survival scenario that they break down, but what it does is it helps people learn how to use public transit systems. So there's an infection that's broken out amongst the city, and the scenario that they uses their local map, and they basically in the game have to learn how to use the bus, how to use a taxi, how to use the subway in order to solve this little adventure. And it allows them to basically find a fun recreational way to learn the public transit system, say if they're, extremely autistic.
I see.
Or have
amazing.
And that kind of element of like not being able to like interact well with people, but they will interact with this game, and then as a result, they will learn valuable skills they need in order to operate in the real world.
Yeah.
I love that. Like it's almost like stealth learning.
Yeah, exactly.
It's stealth learning.
Yeah. You don't even know that it's happening, and you're like, oh, all of a sudden I just memorized all these amazing, important details that I need to live my life.
There you go. There's that little. I'm sorry to throw things immensely off topic, but let me just throw that.
I love it. I love it. We're booking them right now. We're booking them to get on the podcast.
Let's do this.
I'd love to talk to them
as we speak. But that's cool, man. So we got this all started from the question of how did you start working at Geek and Sundry?
Oh,
yeah, and beforehand, Shelly and I were like, well, we got so much to talk about. I'm like, yeah, this will not be a hard conversation.
No, and I do want to talk about King of the Nerds because I just love TV
and reality TV.
And reality TV.
All right.
And you also there's another connection I have to you is because Lasercorn. Was Lasercorn?
Oh my God, David Moss. Yeah, Lasercorn, of course.
Yeah,
love Lasercorn. His and I's kids are they're the same age, so we go on play dates with them all the time. In fact, him and I are working on a YouTube channel right now called Nerds with Kids.
Right. You should have gone like Losers of King of the Nerds.
King of the Nerds. Reject.
Although Lasercorn wasn't on it, that was Jovenshire.
Oh, was it Joven? It was Jovenshire, wasn't it? All right, now I'm sorry, I got my Smosh Gaming kids mixed up.
Your Smosh Games kids.
Oh, they're the Smosh kids.
What? They're not kids.
I know, but
there was Smosh, and then there's Smosh Games.
Smosh Games.
Part of the Defy.
They've done some. Exactly. I like them. I like watching them.
They're fun, and we did and of course, so I helped Joshua Jovenshire. He asked me, because they have a series called Board AF.
Yep.
He asked me to say, hey, Ivan, can you teach me Dungeons and Dragons in like 2 weeks?
Nice.
And
2 weeks from now?
Okay.
Or in 2 weeks. You have 2 weeks to teach me.
Well, he needed a campaign as well too. So it wasn't just, teach me how to run a game, but also, can you give me a game to run? So I sat with him and we just banged out this adventure for him that was loosely based off of a module that he was already kind of comfortable with, but we just kind of made an original story out of it, and then gave him all the skills. Basically, put him through GM boot camp.
Nice.
So that he could go off
That's
and run
good.
this game for all of his friends.
See,
So-
that sounds like a good reality show too. Like how to make a
boot
dungeon
camp?
master in like 9 weeks.
Right.
Like
man.
everything you need to like you teach them from they can't have any knowledge.
So like your mom,
The best.
my
yes.
mom, like
the
get them
best.
in.
Right.
And then at the end they run a campaign for like Chris Perkins and Matt Mercer. Like
It's the best. That would actually be beautiful because it could show anyone that this is 100% an accessible thing.
and they all have a coach.
Yeah,
Oh yeah, like your nerd whisperer.
Yeah.
that's lovely. Actually, I really like that. That's also kind of a floating a little bit on this other idea that I've been playing around with. It's a concept that's already out in the world with conventions, but I really want to make it into like a season of shows. It's the Iron GM.
Yes.
I think Iron GM would be a lovely show, as long as we don't make it like, because obviously I don't want to make it an antagonistic or it's competitive
Right.
kind of situation, but if it's, as long as it's a showcase of all these different DMs using the same
Yeah.
2 resources that they use in order to generate their stories, and it becomes a showcase of what style
Right.
and everyone's
Yeah,
doing, and
all
then
the
you just get a
different-
chance. But it doesn't have to be one of those, oh, your story's terrible.
I'm gonna bite into this pepper.
You have been chopped.
you chopped you out. You're the Iron GM.
See, I wanted to actually make something that was more of a competition show like that for a convention also, where it was, and instead of it being about RPG specifically, it was board game design or just, card game design or something like that, where like people would get elements, like, okay, worker placement.
Yeah.
You have to use this color scheme. You have to use these components. Make a board
I'll
game
sponsor that.
in like 20 hours and then present it to someone. So it's like fast.
Well, it's like the,
you have to do it in
the-
a time limit.
There's a theater thing like that. Like you write a play and like
Oh yeah, I've done those.
you do
Well,
like
there's
write the play and then perform it all in 24 hours.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're
there's
bad.
also-
They end up
there's
being
also-
really
They're
bad plays, but they're fun.
Or write a novel in a month.
In the film world too, they do the 24-hour film festivals.
Yeah.
So a 24-hour board game festival. you
Yeah.
know?
I've done.
Oh,
I did
that
a
would be
bunch of
so
those.
fun.
They are fun because you're like you can't. You part of the problem with coming up with ideas for stuff is that you can get stymied in the collaboration. If there's too many people or too many
Yep.
cooks
Yep.
in the kitchen, you'd be like, oh, that doesn't sound like that good, and the project goes nowhere. That has happened to me so many times. So then these 24-hour film festivals were great because they were like, there's no excuse.
Go.
That may not be
Yes.
the best idea, but it's the best
Yes.
idea that we have right now.
Right now.
Yes.
Yes.
Time
now-
is the enemy of creativity sometimes.
And
Yeah.
sometimes that can be a lovely thing just to forge the fire of creativity a little bit, because
Right.
all you're doing is you're going with your gut and you're running with the ball, and you might get tackled, but you're just gonna run.
And in some
Go
ways,
with it.
that's what makes RPGs fun, right? To me,
Yep.
in that and all three of us have a background in theater and film and creative stuff. We don't you don't get that often to exercise it really. Unless you are a professional actor.
Right.
But then here's a way to be like, oh, yeah, no, you're on the spot. You have to create. You have to make it all happen. And you have a very small time limit window of like, hey, when the Dungeon Master says, hey, it's your turn, what are you going to do? And then
yeah.
you get that prompt and
Yep.
you're ready to go. And you
Yep.
create on the immediately.
I like it.
It's so charming to understand that like this format, this storytelling medium flexes those muscles in the same way that when you go and read a script, or that when you go
Yeah.
and pitch an idea. And it's really a perfect training ground. I am surprised that it hasn't emerged much more. I mean, it is now becoming a lot more public opinion, but there's just the fact that it isn't used as like some kind of training for people who are going into first year theater, stuff like
Yeah.
that. Just as an ability of like, it is the rudimentary telling stories is what it is. It is the disposable story machine is what it is. And heaven
It is
forbid,
improv.
I would have loved to be able to get some of my crappier ideas out on the table before I had to go and actually spend money to go work on some of my first films.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
And-
because you're like, I'm banking,
Yeah,
scraping
try 'em
together
out.
this 10 grand to make this one movie. And I don't even know if it's a good idea or not.
Try out these new characters. I don't even know
Exactly.
if this character is likable. Find out.
And I'm committing to it because it's a good idea for me, but I haven't had the maturity yet of learning if that's a progressive good idea, you know. And it's
So, over the course of this conversation, I think the three of us now have to found a school,
Yes. And a television network.
a television network that's based
We've got
around
more.
the writers' rooms are all just RPGs playing.
I do like these ideas, though.
I didn't see it.
Ivan, you
them.
got to make it happen. Because Greg and I
I'm
are
doing
too
everything
tired.
I can, Shelley. I've got another one that I've been putting in the bank for a while too. That's actually pretty similar to what Greg was talking about. With it's essentially the Shark Tank for board games. Is what it is.
Well, there was that one, the toy box.
The toy box,
Yeah.
right?
I
What's
like-
that? What's the toy box?
What was that, Hasbro?
Yeah. It's a show.
Oh, it's a.
It's like I haven't seen it in a long time. Is it still on? I don't even know if it's still on.
So
But there's
I think
toys in the
they
box?
pitched game design ideas.
Oh, all right. So it's basically
to, like-
Game Shark, but for
yeah,
toys.
to game
yeah, and then
industry
what they do
execs.
is they go and they get but then the prize is distribution.
Yeah.
They get to be their toy gets to go to Toys R Us.
Got
as
it.
essentially is how it is, and so they get a cash prize, and they get to actually, which is in my mind on the flip side of this being a publisher, it's like it's a win-win situation for everyone. It's like you get to vet a whole bunch of great titles, and
Yeah.
then whatever is the best you get to sell.
I think the Shark
and then you get
Tank.
a giant marketing and promotion.
It
thing
is a
out of
great idea. Like you could have representatives from different publishers, and people just go there and pitch their game idea. Anything that's on Shark Tank, even if it doesn't get funded, it's gonna sell.
It's a boost, you
Yeah.
know, no matter what. It always gets something. Some investor comes into it because it's got an immediate amount of credibility to it. Now, again, the challenge is that, especially with GNS, it's a very inclusive, very safe space community, which is one of the reasons I love it so much. It's not a place to go. I would never want to put a show on Geek and Sundry that has a "you're fired" element to
No.
it.
Right.
Ever. You know, and I would want to be able to make it so that it feels very much like a safe space in which to
Yeah.
come and do games, and where it's one of those, hey, look, this is you know, Joni Maroney over in North Carolina. He's never made a board game in his life. He's been working on this for 10 years though, and he's really happy with it, and he's bringing it to show us today.
You're
And just
talking
have-
about
Yes.
you're talking about being Gordon Ramsay with kids, not Gordon Ramsay with adults.
Thank you. Yes. You know,
Yes.
I'm down with it.
And they can still give constructive feedback, so you're walking away with something.
Yeah.
You're walking away with something, no matter
Yep.
what, and you always get just the experience.
Yep.
You know, and yeah, and I have another one I want to tell you too, but I feel like I'm just throwing them all out here.
No.
And
And then if Greg Tito starts, oh, welcome to D&D Shark Tank, you know why.
Yeah, created by Ivan Van Norman, but giving him no other credit whatsoever.
That's how we roll.
Not at all. Well, you know this is broadcast live. Or, you know, thousands of people are stealing all of these ideas. But you know what?
I know. Oh,
someone
they're
told me
going away.
once.
All my ideas are out the door now. Oh,
Right.
yeah.
I think that's silly because the ideas are cheap. Like everybody can come up with a great idea, but you are one of the few people out there that will actually turn it into a reality. Right?
Yes.
And that's the skill that's lacking for
You
most,
have the
most folks out
resources
there.
and the talent.
Yeah.
Thank you for that. That's very, very sweet of you. I just enjoy the fact that I am surrounded by a lot of really talented people that I can come and bring these things to, and there is an outlet for them. Like these are actually things that can be done and
Yeah.
made. You
Right.
know, it's super satisfying to be able to float all the boats of the glorious interactive gaming community.
So many
do I love
boats.
it.
Is Game the Game one of your ideas? Was
Yeah,
that one
no,
of your...
Game the Game was my response to let's get a board game show on Twitch. Let's not make tabletop, but let's do a board game show on Twitch. And ironically, it slowly became tabletop over the course of it, to the point of where Will called it its tabletop sister show for a while. But it's evolved as the format has evolved too. It has a lot more of kind of an what we like to call an editorial side of things, like news and upcoming Kickstarters. It has like a Kickstarter showcase kind of segment to it now. But yeah, no, I'm officially kind of like, now that I'm not hosting that, but I'm still taking a producer role on it. I'm theoretically the executive producer on Game the Game, and then the executive producer on Sagas of Sundry. And then I'm working on another show right now, which will shoot in January.
Oh, exciting.
Yep.
Exciting. Have you got a chance to look at Xanathar's Guide to Everything yet?
Yes. In fact, I think I emailed about that earlier. We saw the copy at the studio, and it was very exciting. So.
Nice. What do you think? Are you gonna any ideas percolating for some home campaigns? Maybe something that's not in front of a camera.
So here's the thing, yeah, because I have a home campaign right now at home in which I'm playing a Kenku cleric.
Nice.
So I'm kind of already rolling with my Volos rule set for that
Rolling with
already.
my Volos. Why
Rolling
didn't we
with my
put that on a
Volos.
T-shirt? Rolling with Volo.
Perfect.
But that's the thing is like the DM that's running that game for me. He's got a very because we have a couple of new people who are like casting agents in the world.
Oh.
And they've never played role playing games before, but they obviously interact with actors all the time, and so they're really excited about it. So we're trying not to like overly complicate it too much for them.
Right.
So we've got a little bit of like a blighted jungle arc that we're going through at the moment.
Seems to be the theme right about now.
Yeah.
I know, yeah, which I thought was kind of fun. But that's really where I'm at. I'm just enjoying sitting back and playing my Kenku because I've loved Kenku ever since I was first introduced to them. And it was like the fact that they just do mimicry, and it's like a new way to do role playing because you're having conversations using mimicry and you're not speaking directly. I know some people play it where they can mimic talk, but I like to play my Kenku where it's literally just bird calls,
Oh my God.
or shutterstalks, or in like if there's an encounter with gnolls and I want to go up into the position where I'm going to shoot with my crossbow, I just describe him as making the sounds of shooting crossbow bolts, and then I hop up to a rock, and that's the only communication that I bring to the table as far
that's so
as the game
interesting.
goes. And then because he's a cleric and he's in the school of knowledge, so it's Kenku per the rules. Kenku can't provide any tactics to anything. They don't come up with original ideas, but they memorize like a beast. So I treat him a little bit like a walking tome, and I try my best because normally I'm that type of player that wants to like get in there and be the leader, like help bring the tactics and bring everybody together.
Right.
So for me, this homebrew game is testing my resolve to let other people figure it out, and then I just become a resource when it's asked of me. So it's kind of like challenging my comfort levels a little bit.
And then also having to, I imagine you role playing it out so that you're explaining these tactics or ways that can be done only using sounds.
Only sounds, I know. And so what happens is in the game, I've made little catchphrases or little sounds for each one of the party members because that's how Kenku identify. So then it's like if the ranger of the group, maybe they made like a funny grunting sound at one point, and at some point at the table I caught that, and I say, okay, I'm going to mimic that grunting sound, like, and I'll do it on the table, like, and then when we build tactics, I will say, okay, so Aha is going to run over to this part of the room and go, and then take his mace and slap two of parts of the brick so that the mortar crusts down, and he may have to identify what that means for him, and they can choose not to use that information at all. But it's so much fun because it gives me a filter that I have to role play through, and it gives them another piece of story to interact with. At least that's how I interpret it at the table.
That's pretty cool. I like choosing things that are outside your wheelhouse sometimes to play can be the most fun at a role-playing table ever.
It's so hard, Greg.
Yeah. It's so hard, but you can be like, oh my gosh, now I'm like, because we all have tropes that we like and we fall back on. Shelley likes elven sorcerers.
Yep.
Yeah.
But then when you're forced to play, like, oh my gosh, I got to play, something that you're not familiar with, but you almost embrace that role more so than you would the tropes, because you're not playing yourself. You're not playing the thing that you, or even what you identify yourself as, right? So you're playing as something completely foreign, and there's something so freeing about that, while at the same time being really challenging.
And it's so satisfying when they get it.
Yeah.
And it's so satisfying when they get it. And that's kind of like, that was kind of where that's where I'm at running with at least the Volo stuff. I did have the opportunity to play because I was in Satine and Rudy's Fury's Reach game, I got to play with some of the subclasses before, they became official as well, too, a little bit.
Yeah.
Not my character specifically, because I just had essentially a bard that was in the College of, it wasn't the College of Glamour, but it was, what college was he in? I have to remember.
I loved that character. You guys had what a crazy group.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I loved him too. It was funny because Rudy basically handed me the character and he's like, you are doing Romancing the Stone, and you are playing this, and I'm like, all right, I'm gonna own it. If that's what the need of the game is, then I'm going to be the most culturally insensitive bard that I could possibly be. So
you go in, you go all in.
It was fun.
well, that's the point, right? What's the point of doing it if you don't do it?
So, how old are your kids?
You're unwrapping some candy there for the kids?
No. There's pumpkin pie almonds. Don't judge me.
Pumpkin pie almonds.
Pumpkin spice? Like, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's
Pumpkin
like
everything.
candied almonds that taste like pumpkin spice. So
man.
they're amazing.
I want some now.
They're awesome from Bates Nuts Farm.
Wow.
It's good local nut farm.
Got a recommendation from Ivan Van Norman for the nut farm.
Good local nut farm.
Good local nuts. Harvesting them, dumping them in the pumpkin pie seasoning, and sizzling them over a hot oil.
Delicious.
Let
good.
taste fall every moment you put one in your mouth.
So obviously you're trying to do some voiceover work on the side as well.
Oh, it's funny because I have representation to do voice acting, but I one of the parts about doing it, and I'm sure there's Matt and Jason Charles Miller and all these other people who do this for a living can attest to this much more than I can. But you have to put real time into it's not just I can do good voices, but there's like so much auditioning, so much coming in and putting into it, the local recording that you have to put together. And unfortunately, I live in an area that is over, like I'm right next to a private airport. So
I hadn't noticed.
Yeah, no way.
yeah,
Weird.
Ryan, our sound guy, is just like, yep.
yeah. So I'm in the worst place to record auditions, but I love it. And if given the opportunity to do more, I would love to do more. But I said that just is all about fitting it into that beautiful thing called the day.
All you need to do is spend, $25,000 building a completely soundproofed room in your
easy,
apartment.
Done.
Easy.
Just invest it all,
Yeah.
into my room into my apartment that I rent. So.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. You
And just
can
leave it
take
there when you get
or
kicked
take
out.
it with you.
Oh, it's the best. I'm sure my landlord would love it. He'd be like, wow, I have an isolation
Your
studio.
landlord will say, "Oh, those Van Normans are so quiet."
Wait, is he Swedish? Do you have a Swedish
Oh,
Yeah, I have a Swedish
I think I have a
landlord.
new
Yeah.
voice.
On the monkey shelling.
It's a little bit the guy from Frozen. The
Olaf?
no, the
No, the vendor. What's his name?
yeah,
Yeah, we're having a summer blowout.
big summer blowout.
Oh,
yeah.
That guy.
I don't know.
Someone in chat will tell us.
I think it was because I said Van Norman.
Yeah,
Which is Dutch,
Yeah.
to be fair. But no, my
Dutch?
kid, I have one boy who's 2.
Oh, a little young for the D&D, but not really.
No, but he has the ABCs of RPGs, which
Well.
is
Awesome.
good, which I have for him.
it helps. It's a primer.
Yeah, it's a prime, and he was actually the original inception of why to do it anyway. Because I was looking around and I couldn't find any good books that really allowed me to encapsulate the nerddom that I wanted to share with him.
Right.
And so that's how that book kind of came into being, is because I was like, I want to make a children's book for my kid about things that I like.
Right, not about the other stuff that's out there, which is really cool, but our stuff,
Which is a what?
which is really cool. There's good kids books out there, but you're like, it doesn't
So-
speak to me and my
Right.
relationship with my son.
And see, that's fine. And even if it's not something that he latches onto later in life, at least give him the opportunity. He knows what an owlbear is. His first word was dice.
Oh, wow. That's a good one.
He loves dice. He has this little plushy rainbow dash that he likes to hide all of his dice inside of because it's got a little zipper
Oh,
pocket.
he made
in
his
it.
own little dice bag.
He made his own little dice bag. I didn't even think about that until you said it, Shelley.
That's amazing.
God damn it, that's amazing.
Now he's going to be your crafter.
cooler.
He's going to make all of your stuff for you.
Oh, it's so good. And so he can't say meeple yet because it gets the P's hard for him.
What is wrong with this kid?
So he says meat dice.
What? Meat
Daddy,
dice?
Daddy, meat dice. And he points at the games that are
Oh.
on table. And he has a couple of ones that he loves. Fish Frenzy is his favorite. Daddy, fish meat dice.
Oh my god.
Oh my
So I was gonna ask, you think he's exhibiting signs of being a gamer? But yeah, I guess that the answer is yes.
Well, and also all the Habit games, dude. Like, the Habit games are amazing. And I'm so surprised that more people don't have access to Habit games with their kid. You know? And I get that question all the time. People are like, oh, what games can I play with my kid? I'm like, go to habba.com. They have games for 2-year-olds.
That's
okay?
Yeah.
It's called My First Orchard, and you roll a dice. It has a color on it, and then they just have different color fruits, and you put it in the basket, and that's the game. So I give the dice to Phoenix. I say, Phoenix, roll the dice. He rolls the dice. He rolls a red. Phoenix, get the red apple and put it in the basket. And he's learning rules.
I love
yeah.
it. I love it. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's good stuff, man. I think I'm going to go there and start getting
Yeah.
him for my kids now.
Yeah, see how it works, Greg. I didn't
yeah.
get a chance to learn that.
Yeah.
So that was a question. How old are yours?
4 and 6. My oldest, is much more of a gamer, I think, than my 4-year-old are. She plays Stardew Valley and Minecraft and stuff like that. So, I've been reluctant to just foist
Don't know
Dungeons and
why.
Dragons on them, and I want them to be like the perfect time, and maybe I'm already putting too much
It is
emphasis
a
on
matter
it.
of days. Edna's going to be DMing for you.
I know. She loves.
She
I think
makes maps.
She wants to make a druid. I felt like she would be down.
Let me, and because here's the thing. As long as you're all having, I mean, you know this, Greg. As long as you're all having fun, it doesn't matter if when it or where it, how it happens, or if they do none of the rules or some of the rules or however it's going to be.
Yeah.
Like, they could even literally just take dolls and make a little fort, and you could be role playing.
They're doing that already for sure. The two of them play together constantly, and are they're already rules lawyering with each other about like, no, I don't want to do it that way. I want to do it this way and all that. So they're primed. They're all ready to go.
They're primed to pump, dude. You just got to let out the nozzle. So,
Exactly. Well, man, I feel like we have like 40 million topics
I
that we
know.
need to get to, but
Don't
we
even worry about
need
it.
to close this down. Where can people find out about you and all the fun stuff that you're doing? That we already covered it, but like, where's the best place for folks to find it?
Honestly, Twitter is the most accessible place to hit me up at. I'm at Hydra_Lord. If you want to check out some of the games that I'm either publishing or working on, you can go to huntersbooks.com. I've actually got a role-playing game that we're kickstarting right now from Jonathan Gilmour, who made Dead of Winter, called Kids on Bikes. Which is essentially, it's not what you think it is, but it is what you think it is.
Is it a kids game?
It's a role-playing game.
Okay, but not for kids.
But you're playing kids on bikes, doing strange adventures in small towns. You know.
I'm picking up what you're putting down there, buddy.
Yeah. There we go. Greg's got it. So it's fun. It's lovely. Otherwise, just Hydra_Lord everywhere.
You're just all about skirting copyrights as much as you can, aren't you?
To be fair, it's that Jonathan Gilmour put that one up, and I loved it. And there's, to be fair, Goonies and 8. What was it called?
Super 8.
Super 8, and E.T. I mean, the Kids on Bikes is, my opinion, it is a genre of movie.
I agree.
It is not exclusive to one very popular Netflix show that is happening right now. So,
Exactly. All right, well, awesome, man. Thank you so much for calling in. I love all the stuff you're doing. We're going to
too.
connect even more, I think, in 2018. It's going to happen.
I look forward to it.
Well, we got TV shows to produce.
We got like 5 at least that we pitched in this very podcast. So, it's going to happen.
So, it's happening.
Awesome, man. Take it easy.
All right. Well, thank you so much for the
Thank
time.
you.
Take care, everybody.
You too.
Bye, man.
Bye.
Sweet.
Really
That was
excited to talk to him.
He's got like a wealth of
love him.
enthusiasm,
Yep.
and I wasn't just blowing smoke up his butt. He's got the ability to make it happen. It's
know.
all happening. It's great.
know.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's good stuff. So where do you think we should go for this outro, Shelley?
Where should we go?
Like in the world, should we go to the?
We can't talk about Stranger Things.
Right, we want to just spoil it all for everyone, but if you
I
haven't
do.
watched the second season or
Hurry
part
up
2,
so we can talk about it.
it's good stuff. We'll get confirmations from all of you that you have watched it, and then we'll
Yep.
start talking about it
Yep.
in our spoilers podcast, all about it.
Yeah.
What's going on? You can't spoil anything for your announcements, but I know
like,
you
in
want to.
5 days.
Yeah, next recording we'll
So
spoil it all up.
good. It's so good.
Yeah, you guys are in for a
So
treat.
good. So good.
We mentioned it in the intro, but if you are listening to this and you haven't seen it, go see Chris Cox's speech from PAX Unplugged.
Yep.
Dice Camera Action live from PAX Unplugged.
Woohoo.
The Force Grey Survive the Tomb live
Yes.
from Brooklyn. And Chris Perkins in Acquisitions Incorporated on Saturday from PAX Unplugged. You guys got lots of homework, as well as
Lot of watching.
all of the awesome stuff that Ivan's been doing down at Geek and Sundry.
Yes.
Yeah,
Jeez.
jeez.
Yeah. Good thing we have a holiday coming up.
Yeah, and I expect a report on my desk December 10th, please, before
There
you go
will
on
be a
vacation.
quiz.
There will be an exam.
Yes.
We're going to have number 2 pencils and
Yes. Fill in
Scantrons.
the bubbles. Stay in the bubble.
It's true.
Yes.
You would be the best teacher.
I know. I missed my calling.
I love it. Shelley, where can people find out about what you're doing at Avalon Hill?
Well, you can follow Avalon Hill on Twitter, Avalon Hill 2, the number 2, or on Facebook, Avalon Hill Games, or
Nice.
me on Twitter at Shelly Mo.
If you want to, I mean, we talked about getting people into playing D&D in this podcast. Betrayal at Baldur's Gate is a good way to do that.
It's a great way.
Yeah.
That was another one that Ivan played on
He's-
Game the Game.
God, we didn't even talk about that.
I know.
I know. We got to get to that. Because he played the first actual copy that you had, right? It was like the actual
Yeah,
off
like
the
he like
factory
ripped
copy.
it out of my hands, and like little pack of hyenas. There was 4 people tearing it open, and then they were playing it.
It was amazing.
Yeah,
It was good stuff.
He's a big fan of the original. So
You can follow me. I'm at Greg Tito. Ask me anything you want about Dungeons & Dragons and what we're doing here on this here Twitch channel. And follow Wizards_DND on Twitter. We're also on Facebook. And if you haven't been watching us record this live on the Twitch channel, please go ahead and do that. Twitch.tv/DND. All episodes of Force Grey are going to be live by the time you watch this for this season 2. So please watch all those. Totally bingeable, like a certain Netflix show.
Yes.
And you can get all prepared for the the finale,
Right.
totally the opposite of premiere, the
Right.
finale of that season in Brooklyn, Force Grey Survive the Tomb, coming up very soon.
how's your Instagram going?
Really well.
Yeah.
I've got some followers.
Okay, good.
Yeah, it's getting better.
I don't remember if I followed you yet.
I am also
will.
on the Greg_Tito on Instagram as well.
Okay,
Good stuff.
I'll follow you.
All right, we're out of here. May you always roll with advantage. Is that what that was?
It changes every time.
One of these days, I'm going to have a sign-off catchphrase here.
The catchphrase, the purpose of it is to say the same thing every time.
May you always say the same thing every time. Bye, you guys. We'll be back.
Bye.
with Dragon Time. Are we back on for the Twitches real quick?
What happens?
We're going to take a short break and then come back to you with some lore you should know with Matt and Chris. But we will be playing a little bit of ads here while we break. And again, if you don't want to watch any ads, you can subscribe here to your Twitch channel. I know a bunch of you did during the course of that
Wow.
conversation. So thank you,
Nice.
Felix Jongleur. You are not a villain from Tad Williams' Otherland. You are a real person. As well as Adoer32. You are awesome as well for subscribing 2 months in a row. You guys are good people.
Nice.
So yeah, $5. You get some awesome emotes, and you don't have to watch these ads. You can watch us goof around and set up for the next segment here on that. So those of you who are subscribers, get ready to watch that. All right,
Wow.
we'll be back in just a couple of minutes.